Okay, so yesterday we learned synthetic division, which is great. Synthetic division is a really nice way to divide, but sometimes you can't do synthetic division. If you get an x squared or anything bigger than just a regular x, you can't use synthetic division. The reason we can do synthetic division is if you have some x plus or minus some number. That's when we can do synthetic division. But if you can't, if you got an x squared, you have to do long division. So I want to teach you how to do long division. So what I have is on the side here, I've got a little problem, and we're going to go back to 4th grade math, okay? And we're going to go and do old style 4th grade division, and we're going to parallel it to this. So we've got the 5 divided into 431. So what we're going to have is an x squared minus 3x into x cubed minus 7x squared plus 12x, okay? So we do this. We're going to set it just like we did in 4th grade math. The steps are going to be exactly the same. The only difference is we're going to have to go ahead and use x's, but the steps will be the exact same thing. So what we did in 4th grade math is we looked at the 5, and we said, okay, how many times does 5 go into 43? Well, we say, okay, well, 5, and we're going 5 into the first numbers, right? Well, 5 doesn't go into 4. So normally we start with the first number, right? And if that was a 8 or something, like we'd divide 5 into the 8, right? So we divide 5 into the first number. 5 goes into 43 8 times, okay? So we have the same thing over here. We're going to divide our x squared into our x cubed, okay? For the exact same thing, we're going to go, like we went 5 into a 43. We're going to go our x squared into our x cubed. Don't worry about the 3x. We'll pick it up. So it's always the first thing into that first term there. Now, x squared goes into x cubed. Well, that's a little bit harder to do than saying, well, what 5 goes into 43. We can go 5 into 43. We can do that in our head because we're smart. But x squared into x cubed is a little bit harder. It is going to be x. X squared does go into x cubed 1x times. But if you can't see that, I do a little side division. I say, well, okay, I can't figure out that. So what is x cubed divided by x squared? So a little side division just helps me. I'm just doing division on the side because when I look at that, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's just x, right? That's just x. So x squared goes into x cubed x times, right? So I'm dividing just like it did here. Now, technically, what we did in 4th grade is we know that 8 times 5 is 40, right? We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go, all right, just like 8 times 5, we're going to take our x times our x squared, which makes an x cubed. But we can't forget that we have a 3x here also. So we multiply the x times both of these, okay? Just like I went 8 times 5 made 40, I'm going to go x times x squared and x times the minus 3x, which makes a negative 3x squared, okay? How am I doing?
Wait, how'd you put that x on? Why'd you put that x on top?
This one here, great. So, you ready, Becca? Green to green. X squared goes into x cubed how many times?
1.
I did it on the side to help me, because it's hard to do that in your head, isn't it? If I say x squared goes in x cubed, it goes in x times, but that's kind of hard to do. So I said, well, I'm really dividing this by this, and I did it on the side. And do you agree x cubed divided by x squared is just an x to the 1? Does that make sense? 2 of these cancel 2 of these. So that's how I got it, because a lot of us, it's difficult to say, well, how many times does x squared go into x cubed? That doesn't sound right, does it? That's how we do it over here, though. If 5 goes into 43, how many times? So now, on this side then, on the easy stuff, what we did is we subtracted, right? We subtracted, okay? So we're going to subtract here also. Now we got to be careful. When I subtract, I have to be careful because I'm going to subtract here, and I'm subtracting a negative. What happens when I subtract a negative? Add it. So I'm really going to change the signs, right? I subtract a negative. And then down here, I went 43 minus 40, and I got a 3. I'll do the same thing here. X cubed minus x cubed is nothing. That cancels. Negative 7x squared and a positive 3x squared makes a negative 4x squared, okay? So we really are doing exactly what we do here, but we're doing it with x's, okay? Now, what did you do in this little division here? What was the next thing you did?
You bring down the 1.
Right, you bring down the 1. Everybody agree? So you bring down the 1. So bring down the 1. So what am I going to do here?
Bring down the 12x.
Yeah, totally right. Bring down the 12x. Absolutely. So it is the same exact steps. but it's with x's, okay? Now, we went, said 5 goes into 31, right? 5 goes into 31 how many times? 6. So I put a 6 up here. And now I have to do the same thing. Now, Becca, this is going to help because this was your question earlier, okay? X squared goes into negative 4x squared how many times?
2.
It goes in negative 4 times. But if you can't see that, x squared goes into negative 4x squared negative 4 times. So if you can't see that, then you do a little division on the side. Because what I'm really trying to do is say, okay, negative 4x squared divided by x squared. And I can see that if I do a little division on the side, right? And that just makes a negative 4. Okay, so then, like here, 5 went into 31 6 times. I put the 6 up here. So then x squared goes into negative 4x squared negative 4 times. I put the negative 4 up there. It's the same exact process. So I put the negative 4 up here, okay? Now, what did I do over here? 4th grade math. I went that times that and got 30, right? Same thing here. I'm going to go my negative 4 times my x squared is going to make a negative 4x squared. And negative 4 times negative 3x makes a positive 12x, right? How am I doing? Okay? So then on my 4th grade division, I just subtracted, right? And I got a 1. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to subtract. So I'm going to subtract a negative 4x, which makes it a plus, right? Subtract a negative. And I'm going to subtract a 12x here. So when I subtract, I get 0 here and 0 here. Well, that's kind of cool because I have a remainder of 0. If I have a remainder of 0, what do I know? It's a factor. So I know that x squared minus 3x is a factor. Cool. Okay, I'm going to circle that. But that's not the answer. That's not the answer because my answer in 4th grade math is that, right? Actually, it didn't go in evenly, so it's 1/5. But that's my answer, right? Isn't that my answer when I divide? So that's my answer right there. So my answer is x minus 4, okay? Which is also a factor. Okay? So, that's long division. Here's the good news for you. I'm only going to make you do 2 of these. This will not be on your next quiz. It might be as an extra credit. That's fair. When you get to pre-calculus, I'll make you do it. For real, but that's pre-calculus, right? But it's kind of nice at least to have seen it because sometimes synthetic division doesn't work, okay? All right, let's turn the page. Okay, now here's example 2. Use synthetic substitution. All right, what does that mean? Substitution. Just plug it in. You guys agree? Substitution, we're just going to plug it in. I'm just going to, okay, I can do that. I'm going to go, all right. P of 3, so I'm plugging in 3, is equal to 3 to the 4th power plus 2 times 3 to the 3rd power minus 3 times 3 plus 1. Okay, and I'm probably going to need a calculator.
Here it is.
Oh, good. Thanks, Arthur. So I'm just going to, because I could do this 81 and 18 and 9 and 1, but you know what? Why not just let the calculator do it? Okay, parentheses 3 to the 4th power plus 2, 3, oops, I'm sorry, 2, no, it is 3, to the 3rd power minus 3 times 3 plus 1, and I get an answer for 127, okay? So, 127. What is the 127? What does this number represent?
P.
It is. It's the remainder. It is really the remainder. 127, I'm going to say this. Who cares? I'm only looking for one very special number. What's the number I'm looking for?
0.
Yeah. And if it was 0, I'd say that's a factor. It's not 0, so all it is just remainder, okay? That's all it is. That's it. Isn't that easy? Yeah. Yeah, if I did the synthetic division, I sure can. I can do it super fast for you, okay? Because we're smart. 3, and I'll go into a 1, 2, 0. You okay with the 0, Talis? Yeah. Negative 3, 1, right? Bring down my 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Add, and I get a 5. 15, add, I get a 15. 45. I get a 42. 42 times 3 is what? 126, which is 127. There it is.
All day.
Yeah, yeah. crazy, isn't it? I know. Which is fun for me because I'm actually teaching some stuff, which up till about now I haven't taught you anything, have I? Yeah, I think this is faster though. You guys agree? Yeah. So if all I need is the remainder, if all I want is the remainder, just substitute it in, okay?
Where did the 0 come from?
Great question. Really good question. Now you watch, Garrett. 4, 3.
Example 3.
There's no x squared, is there?
No.
Good question. Okay. Now, example 3. We're going to divide. We're going to divide. Now, you've got two choices. You could do it this ugly way here, or,
That's the exact same question.
and we just did it, right? Yeah. Or we could do it by synthetic division, and it is. So what we just did, I'll do it again. 3 into 1, 2. Garrett, you okay with the 0, right? 0, -3, 1.
Well, oh, wait, never mind.
And we probably will get what number here?
127. Negative 127.
Positive 127, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Step 1, bring down the 1, right? 1 times 3 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15. 0 plus 15 is 15. 15 times 3 is 3. Whoops, is 45. 45. 42. 126. 127. Now, the answer, though, would be a 1x cubed, 1 less power, right? 1 less power, plus a 5x squared, plus a 15x, plus a 42, plus 127 over, I'm sorry, yeah, 127 over x minus 3. There we go.
So when you ask for substitution, then you want the remainder, and when you want us to divide